This podcast is brought to you by Cascade CPA, a local professional services firm supporting Madison businesses and nonprofits with their various back of office needs. The firm aims to provide high quality professional services and be true business partners to small and mid market employers. If you're interested in accounting and tax advisory, Cascade CPA is committed to serving Madison and the downtown community. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Downtown Madison Inc. Happenings podcast. We are so fortunate to have a longtime member of DMI and just a pillar in our community when it comes to community service and communications. If you haven't met Laura Gallagher, president of the Creative Company, yet, you are in for a treat. Laura, how are you doing today?
I am great. I'm so glad to be back in Madison, and I had a great week in DC, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Well, we're going to jump right into it, but before we begin on your journey with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Summit in Washington, D.C., I want to learn more about you. Laura, tell us more about the Creative Company and the great work that you all do.
Thank you. The Creative Company started in 1989. I started it when I was a senior in college, and that was during a time when people didn't start businesses. I've been in business for over 35 years. We were the Dane County Small Business of the Year in 2022. I'm an SBA Women in Business of the Year champion and a Wisconsin Trailblazer, recognized as a Wisconsin Trailblazer. The company, Creative Company, is a public relations and marketing and branding firm. We do a lot of nonprofit work. We work with one of the nation's largest philanthropy organizations, Ascendium Education. And we also work with Gorman and Company, who does affordable housing all over the country. And then we also do capital campaign support on the public relations and marketing side for various nonprofits. Most recently, it would be Rise Wisconsin and Literacy Network as examples. But we also help name the beacon for Catholic Charities. And, you know, we're in the trenches with many of the issues that are affecting and helping people here in Dane County.
I mean, you all have done it so often for so many years. I got to say, we've used you several times in several different careers I've had now, sometimes in crisis,
True.
hopefully not. But you
Yes.
just have been so great to work with. So I would highly recommend for any of your communications needs, connect with Laura and the team at the Creative Company. But you, over just very recently, have been part of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Summit in Washington, D.C. This is part of a program that you've been a part of now for almost 10 years. Is that right?
Gosh, I didn't even realize it was that long, but you're right. So Goldman Sachs has a program called the 10,000 Small Businesses, and it's an executive education program. You go through in the businesses who go through this 16-week class or classes are tend to do much better in the marketplace. We employ more people. We learn about how we can use capital to scale. We learn how to grow our businesses. We learn more about financials and, all kinds of things and taking better care of our employees. I learned about the 10,000 Small Businesses program through the Initiative for a Competitive Inner City program, I was part of the Milwaukee cohort, and then there was no Madison or Wisconsin cohort. And so I became part of the national cohort for 10,000 Small Businesses. And I never imagined, like you never do, Jason, that, I'm doing this training to help grow my business here in Madison. And that years later that, I would end up lobbying. And this was actually my third time to lobby on behalf of small businesses with other Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business graduates. So there are actually over 17,000 of us now. 2,200 of us were invited to go to Washington, D.C. for a small business summit where we heard from people like Martha Stewart and the founder of the Home Depot, as well as a couple of guys from Shark Tank. So, these guys say it straight and they say it great. It was very exciting. But then we also spent the better part of a day on Capitol Hill lobbying with others, from Wisconsin. So it was great.
What did you learn? I mean, what are we learning that small businesses need? What can we learn for the small businesses in Madison of the work that you took part of in DC?
Oh boy, we need more certainty and simplicity in our taxes. For some of us, we need it to be easier to work with the government. So if we wanted to do government contracting, Creative Company, for example, is certified as a woman-owned business in the state of Wisconsin. We're also certified by the county and the city of Madison. And we are currently going for the federal designation Now, you need to know that the goals that the government set to work with women and with under-resourced businesses has not been met. Let me see if this is right. The women-owned small businesses has only been met, the contracting goal has only been met twice since 1994, and the contracting goal for historically underutilized business zones has never been met. And the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses and ICIC both look for and try to help lift up those businesses that otherwise wouldn't necessarily have had a chance, and teach them all these things to help them to grow and get them connected to capital, all those kinds of things. So all of this is kind of a long way to say that government contracting is a thing. But in all these years that I've been in business, we've only done about $40,000 in business with the government. Everything else has not been there, but I'm curious about it. And so that was one of the things that was on the agenda. Like I said, certainty and simplicity in taxes. Small businesses are overburdened with regulations. And so that was an issue. Health insurance, clearly an issue. Some people brought up the childcare situation and wishing that there was something that we could do, because less than 10% of small business owners, although we employ nearly half the workforce, have any kind of childcare support for our employees. AI was big. So 60% of small business owners are utilizing AI, which I thought was kind of low. But what they want is, or what we're recommending is that there be some sort of grants or something to help small business owners to get up to speed in terms of AI. Now, remember too, that in rural America, broadband is still an issue in some cases. So it's a very complicated kind of ecosystem that we're working through. The last and final point is access to capital. I've heard a lot of people complain about the SBA financing process and how long and slow and laborious it is. That's true. I went through it myself in 2018. It is. On the other hand, I worked with Summit Credit Union, and I don't know, I guess maybe I expected it to be all those things. And so it really just was what I expected. I think, if you want faster capital, I guess you borrow from your friends and family or something, but I sort of
And that's how
expected it to be.
most businesses start off, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I
learn how to
expected it to
extend
be
their own
hard.
credit. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was. And so that was one of the things they'd like it to be a little more fluid. I'll tell you, I mean, they don't leave any stone uncovered anymore. Like you report everything. And that's true with being going through a government process of any kind. Like they want to know, like they asked me for my resume. And you can imagine I wouldn't really have, I mean, I created one.
Was your resume fresh? Yes.
It was fresh. I mean, I don't have a need for one,
As
but I
someone that's
made
owned their own
one.
company for what, 30 some years, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I made one. So it was fascinating. And what I loved most about this, Jason, was that people were truly bipartisan in this effort. I went into this kind of dreading it, thinking, oh, government shut down, people are upset naturally. Like this could be a rough week in Washington. But it wasn't like that. We were there to solve problems. We brought our policy issues forward. We didn't pick sides. And I think that more business owners should engage with policy making. It was a very positive effort. And I don't know what the result is going to be, but 2,200 of us, that's the largest gathering of small businesses in America. And I got to believe that we make an impact. And if you don't show up and talk to the people who are creating this legislation, then you're subject to whatever happens, I guess, instead of like having a voice at the table. And I felt that everyone really listened to us.
Look, as someone's lobbied for years, this matters. And to get 2,200 people on the Hill meeting with, probably you met with basically every representative, every
Yes.
single senator. Hearing the voice of small business is so important. I can't remember the exact statistics, so take this with a grain of salt. But I believe over 50% of all folks that work in business work for small businesses, right? And
Right.
this is the backbone of who we are. It's the backbone of us as an organization. Our biggest membership group is the 2 to 10 business owner, right? 2 to 10
Right.
employees. That's who we all work for. That's where I work at a nonprofit, in a small organization. So for you to be able to give our voices to DC to help improve on some of these issues, we are super thankful. How can folks in Madison or in Wisconsin get involved or stay involved with what's happening with Goldman Sachs and the 10,000 businesses?
Well, I think, personally, they can meet with their representatives and just talk about the things that are, you can get a meeting and just go meet with them, or you can be part of a group like DMI or the chamber and be part of that lobbying initiative. They can certainly follow and learn more about 10,000 small businesses and the Bipartisan Policy Center. That's something that you can follow if you're curious about it. They did this, do have it right in front of me here, but here's the big policy wonk initiative guide for bipartisan politics. But that's another way. Um, I don't know. I think the government felt smaller and more accessible to me by being in DC. And I had done this twice before, but it was during the pandemic. So it was all on Zoom. And even that felt good. Like if it does, it feels good to feel like, okay, someone's actually listening to what I'm saying and the ideas that I'm bringing forth, and maybe it could make a difference. You know better than me.
Wow, I mean, look, there are not that many bipartisan issues left, but I will say, hopefully there'll be more, and hopefully things will change. But small business is one of them. I think both, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are, left, right, center, people really, they understand the importance of small business. I mean, let's just take Madison Central Business Improvement District, right? The area in State Street and Capitol Square. 80% of those businesses are owned locally and they're small businesses, right? This is such an important part of who we are as a community. So for you to go up and to represent us and meet with Representative Pocan and meet with Senator Baldwin, Senator Johnson, whoever it is, left and right, it's so important. So Laura, we can't thank you for all of your work as well. All right, we've got you on. You are now a not a one-time author, but a two-time author. How did you
Third.
three-time? Okay, I
Great.
missed one book
So
apparently.
I've got one coming out
Third-time
now
author.
soon, and it's called A Legacy Built, and it's by Gary Gorman. Well, it's written by me with Gary Gorman. I'm sorry, the affordable housing real estate developer. And it's
How
about
cool
how
is
he
that? I thought you only had two books and now you've
No,
got three.
it's coming, Jason. It's just about
I
ready to be
love it.
published. So we are just weeks away from really announcing that it starts out with how he put his, and I've known Gary throughout my whole business career, but not well. But he starts out by putting his 10-speed bike on his financial statements. Like that's where this guy starts. And they've done nearly $3 billion in projects since then. And it's how he did it and how he persevered and the grit that he has that takes him through the tough times. A lot of businesses in that sector went out of business during the recession. And Gary was able to hang on through relationships, tenacity, creativity. He even partnered with TV Lenny at one point and did like a 10-speed bike giveaway with a house. And I don't know. I mean, he was just so creative. And so that's the third book that's coming out. But now I'm starting to develop a process, and in terms of how to create these works. It's the best work of my life, honest to God.
Wow, that is really cool. I mean, I could just sort of see it coming through the camera. Your spirit with which you speak about your writing is so important. And I'm just, as someone that can barely put two words together, I'm so thankful for folks like you telling your own story, which I know you've done in your own books, but also, telling that really important story about what Gorman's done for our community, honestly, for Madison and for downtown in particular.
Yeah, and I think there's 700 employees now at Gorman and Company across the country, in other states, and they were just very creative. And great things start here in Madison. There's no question about that. Uh, yeah, so I'm excited. There's pictures in it. Like it's just this gorgeous, gorgeous book. We designed it here at Creative Company. The other book that I wrote is called Home Again, a restoration story, and that came out last September, and that's the book you're referring to. And that's 300 pages about how I bought my great uncle's house in Apple River, Illinois, and I lovingly restored it in a short amount of time. And just the idea that you can sort of go home again. It's about nostalgia, it's about family, it's about connections. I only spend weekends and vacations and things there now, but it's not far from here. It's in a rural community. I learn a lot about um, different way of living, and it's lovely. It's lovely. It's a lovely part of my story now. We also do crisis communications here at Creative Company. A couple of us are certified, and so there's some high pressure situations that we're part of here, in addition to managing um, large marketing initiatives. And it's nice to be able to get away, and like I have grapevines there, and I have, you know, I don't know, neighbors. I went to high school with both of the people on my left and my right. It feels like home.
Oh, I love it. I love everything about it. And I think I'm going to steal this line. Great things are created in Madison. I'll cite Laura Gallagher. I love it. That's
Okay.
totally right up my alley. All right. We didn't tell you about this ahead of time, but would you be willing to play a game with us called the Fast and Furious Five, where we ask five rapid fire questions and you just tell me whatever's on the top of your mind? Would you be all right
Yes,
with that?
I would love to. I love that. I love to play games. So yeah.
All right. What is your favorite hidden gem spot in downtown where you find creative inspiration or recharge?
Um, Wonder State Coffee on the
Oh,
square.
it is good. It is good. Oh, their cookies are quite good.
Yes, yes. I really appreciate their next level coffee.
Yeah.
It's magnificent. Yeah.
Well, beautiful sunlit all the time. I mean, well, not, I
Hmm.
guess not all the time.
Yes.
A lot of the time. A lot of the time. How would you describe Madison's creative energy in one word?
I'm looking diverse. I mean, it's wild. It's not it's all over the place and I love that, right? I went to this art talk at the Arts and Lit Lab recently and learned about 100 years of history with a bunch of other women, as it turns out, who were interested in art history. And I thought, I am the luckiest woman in the world that I get to even like be here, right? And then I was a Dane Arts Commissioner for a while, and the amazing amount of creativity in the city from all different kinds of people. Like it's wild. I feel like we're in one of the most, I know we're in one of the most creative cities in the United States.
It's actually no question. We just cut the last podcast was with Mary Rose Eckberg from the City of Madison's arts team. We're talking about this exact subject, about how creative Madison is and all the great
Mhm.
public art that's happening. All right, you got to have a big brainstorming meeting with the client. Are you doing a walk and talk or are you doing a coffee?
Brainstorming meeting. Well, I prefer the walk and talk, but
There you go.
realistically, we're probably in a room.
Probably yes, having to sit
But
down.
I'm
Yeah.
probably standing, and there's probably coffee, but there's likely energy. You know, our building on West Washington Avenue, we have a fifth floor, beautiful area. You've been here.
Yeah.
So it's nice to go up there and hang out and talk about ideas and see like the sky. I think that you're most creative, Jason, when you have these vistas that we have here in Madison, to be able to look out at the water, to be able to look across,
Mm.
a city from on top of a rooftop. It's fantastic. And we need that. We need those wide open spaces. We really, really do. I in Washington, D.C., I looked out at some brick wall, from my
Not as
hotel room.
inspirational.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. And the space was very creative. They even had one of those, like they had a rotary phone where you could press a button and hear a bedtime story.
Oh, I like that. You know, it's
Yeah.
funny because you and I are not too far off in age, but I feel like anyone younger than us doesn't even know what a rotary phone is. Like, how do you actually do this?
Yes. I think this was
Anyway,
still just push button, but yeah, it was cool.
exactly, exactly. All right, favorite food item in downtown? What do you crave when you're out of town? You come back. What meal do you want in downtown Madison?
Boy. I like going to Marigolds. So there isn't a favorite. I love everything there. I mean, their pancakes are unbelievable. Yeah, I just really enjoy Marigolds.
Yeah, Clark and Christie do a great job. Well, I don't know if our listeners knew this, but that's where my rehearsal dinner was for my wedding. We rented out Marigold. And then had
Wow.
our actual was very John and Philip at the time. They were the owners. They were the owners. Now they no longer are. But we got married at Sardine as well. Anyway, I should not be
Oh,
answering my own questions.
it's
Anyway,
okay. It's okay.
yeah,
That's wonderful. I know your wife too, and I've done a little bit of work with her. So,
you have. You've been very good. Very good. All right. Last question. What's the one local business that inspires you?
well, hmm. Well, the Madison Symphony Orchestra is a nonprofit. I don't know if that would count.
Yeah,
Or
I mean, I would, and yes, yes. I mean, they're doing
yeah.
amazing things.
So
Yes.
I love the MSO. I love what they're doing for their 100th anniversary this year.
Yeah.
They brought in Cirque du Soleil for the kickoff of the new season. It was so creative, so brilliant. And they're having next June a whole day of, I think it's one day or maybe it's a whole weekend of free events at Overture
Yep.
Center where they're inviting in all those, performing other performing companies that are there. Um, that's that's just everything that I want for our city. It's inclusive, it's welcoming, it's I think I know the arts lift us up and help us through tough times. One of the things I did when I was in DC was that I visited the women's the Smithsonian and things is closed, but I went to the women's art museum or something like that. And anyway, um, women only represent 11% of all the art in major galleries around the United States. So there's no parity in art. And in this place, there were over 5,000 works by women artists. And you just see how the human spirit can be elevated through art and creative efforts, whether it's music or dance or art. And I don't know, I'm such an advocate for the arts. I think it's so important for humanity to thrive. And we're so lucky to be around so much of it here. So that's what I would say. I don't know that there's a business that inspires me more than my own. Yeah,
But
quite
that, I mean, that's a good answer too. But
truly, like I love this business and I still love after all these years. I mean, I love coming into this dynamic space. I love the art that we have on the walls. I love the people that are here. They will do anything for you. They're just such good people. I feel really lucky to be in business in this town and to have so much good around us.
well, Madison, and particularly downtown Madison, is lucky to have you and the creative company here in the downtown. Laura Gallagher, president of the creative company, thank you for sharing time about not only your company, but about the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Summit you just attended in Washington, D.C. We really do appreciate all you do, all your continued support of downtown Madison and DMI. Laura, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you all for joining us on another Downtown Happenings podcast. Hopefully, we'll see you downtown sometime soon. Talk to you soon now.